I've stopped buying 9 types of things. In this video, I'll cover why and how it saved me money and, more importantly, helped my mental health. While I'm not a minimalist and I don't believe in hoarding all my money and never spending, this change has seriously helped me, and it might help you too. No, I'm not Swedish death cleaning, but I did get off the corporate treadmill about 1.5 years ago. And after the first few weeks of decompressing, I started looking around the house, and what I saw smacked me so hard. I felt so sick of all my stuff, like seriously sick of it. Despite the memories contained within many of the items staring back at me, I couldn't stomach the volume of things that had simply piled up over the course of years and decades. I'd fallen into a trap of my own making. I followed guru advice. Live below your means, check. Pay off student loans and any other debt, check. Save and invest, check. Then pay yourself and do some guilt-free spending, check. And it was fine until it wasn't. When I was 30 or even 35, it worked, but as I eased into my 40s and the accumulation of stuff over time had absolutely stacked up, I needed a mindset shift around stuff. What started as a trivial tidy up turned into one realization after the next. And cutting out these 9 things and cleaning up the mess they created has saved me money and had a positive impact on my mental health. So let's get into it. At number 1, multi-pack deals, a lifetime supply. Who are we kidding? Stores want to sell more stuff, so they make it slightly cheaper. If you calculate out a small pack of something or a single of something versus buying a bunch at one time, kind of the price per goes down. And growing up poor, I've always been a sucker for a good deal. But the truth is, when I do this, I'm actually buying a storage problem. I don't need a lifetime supply, and I certainly don't need to store something for the next 10, 15, 20 plus years just so that I can use it all the way up before I buy it again. Coming in at number 2, fantasy life purchases. Now for me, a lot of this revolves around clothing that I would wear on occasion. So I have bought a piece of clothing or multiple pieces of clothing, and I have a place where I'm going to wear it right now, but it doesn't necessarily fit into my everyday wardrobe, and I don't necessarily know when is the next time I would wear it, or even if the next time that I would wear it, it might be with lots of the same people, and I would think to myself, I don't want to wear it twice, but I've still made that purchase, and so now I don't make those types of purchases anymore. What I do instead, I'll just stay on the clothing example. What I do instead is I make sure that the pieces of clothing that I buy are versatile enough to both dress up and dress down. Case in point, just 2 weeks ago, I wore the same skirt and shirt to 3 different occasions in 1 week. One was a very casual coffee chat, one was out for dinner with some friends, and then I wore it with high heels and a very nice evening bag to a quinceañera, which is, if you've never been to a quinceañera, just think wedding attire. And it actually worked for all 3 of those purposes just by changing my shoes, accessories, and outerwear. So perfectly possible, and it's something that saved me a lot of money in not going out and purchasing things for a fantasy life that I don't actually have. I would say that purchases for fantasy life definitely extend beyond clothing and extend beyond occasion wear clothing. So even clothing that is a fit for somebody else's life. One of the things that I've done over the last many months is purge out of my closet clothes for the life that I no longer live. I've worked from home for over 13 years, and yet I still had a high percentage of my clothing was office attire. And some of it I haven't worn in 7 or 8 or 9 years. And even when I do go into an office or meet with clients, I still tend to wear the things that I've worn, say, within the past 6 months or past year. I still don't reach for those really truly like office wear pieces, or I might grab 1 or 2, but not the volume that I had. So I've nearly eliminated all of those from my wardrobe. Other things that fall into this category are things that are for a life that I see lived online, or that I see other people live based on their lifestyles, and I think, oh, I should have one of those. Now I really think about whether or not it applies to the life that I have today, not the life I've had in the past, and not the life that I plan to have in the future, but the life that I'm living right now in this moment. And I can tell you it's been a weight off mentally because I actually use the things that I do bring in, and I don't have to feel guilt about the purchases that I no longer make. Number 3, backups and multiples. So this is maybe just a woman problem, but I buy lots of makeup and toiletries and cleaning supplies and shampoo and towels because you generally can buy those in packs, or you want to have a backup. So, hey, I don't want to run out of this, or I only do laundry at X frequency, so I need lots of towels. But the reality is all of that fills up cupboards and cabinets and spaces, and it forces you then to spend time organizing, or every time you open something up, it feels incredibly full. So I wait until I'm nearly out, and I thought that this would create a lot more trips to the store, but actually it hasn't. So if I wait till I need shampoo, or I only have like one wash left, then I bring it home and I can put it right where the new shampoo is going to go, or I order kind of just in time purchasing. And whether that's on Amazon or running to the store or what have you, it's actually freed up a lot of space because mentally, and actually my spending is decreased, because a lot of times if I buy something enough in advance, then by the time it comes around to using that, I'm like, oh, but I wanted to try out a new one. I didn't want to just replace and have a backup of the exact same one. And so then I would get into a purchasing cycle of multiples of the same thing. So I've actually broken that cycle as a result of this as well, which has saved me money. It's also amazing looking into a cupboard and seeing like lots of space, or just being able to reach something without having to like move stuff and get to it. That has been incredible, actually. Number 4, visual noise variety. I can apply this one to a few different areas. So Tupperware, all of my Tupperware is uniform. It's all basic, plain, nondescript colors. There's no more bright red and blue and green and purple lids all over the place. And I think that this might be a getting older thing, where you want the environment around you to have a more calm, peaceful vibe. My 8-year-old loves a very, very colorful palette and will mix and match a ton of colors in his room with seemingly very little intent behind that. And I found that I like a much calmer palette, and in doing so, and in kind of streamlining that and buying things that just sort of blend in and not have a lot of visual noise and variety, I find my home atmosphere to be a lot more peaceful, and also a lot less, when I would buy stuff in colors before to kind of create a lot of life and vibrancy around me, which I really enjoyed, I would then find it to be a lot more work to go out and find something that matched or coordinated with, whereas having things all in kind of neutrals, earth tones, basics, mixing and matching is a lot easier, and so creating a cohesive look, because stores will tend to sell things in a more neutral palette instead of trying to get the right shade of green or blue or red. And on the same note, another thing that I realized that spilled over into my wardrobe is I used to have socks for different occasions. So I would have socks for working out, or socks for running, or socks for around the house, or colorful socks, or white socks, or black socks. And now all I have are plain white running socks that I can wear with. It doesn't matter what kind of shoe I've got, it works for all of my shoes. And so I've actually simplified my socks down, and I'm not having to dig through and find a particular pair for a particular occasion. So it's just like a little side thing, but I no longer kind of have to have a whole supply of a variety of different socks, which is, yeah, it's just like, it's the smallest thing, and it's made such a difference. Number 5, physical when digital is an option. Actually, it applies to 3 things. It applies to cookbooks, books, and photos. So I hardly ever print anything anymore. I just have digital library of things, and I try to keep it organized. I try to buy as few physical books as possible, and if I really like a physical book that I have that's been gifted to me, I will go ahead and, so maybe this isn't saving money, but I will go ahead and buy the digital version and donate or give to a friend a physical, like pass on the physical copy so that somebody else can enjoy it, and then I have less clutter and things around me, and I then can share my Kindle subscription or all my book purchases to the rest of my family, and thereby we can all enjoy it. And then when it comes to cookbooks, I used to have an entire cupboard full of cookbooks, probably 50. And I realized over time that I would continue to travel to places and experience things, Hawaii, Japan, Italy, and I would buy a cookbook so that I could try out try the recipes at home that I got from that particular area. But then I found that the cookbooks weren't the actual recipes that I tried, and they were just taking up space. So I have donated all of those and cleared up that space, and realized that if I need a recipe, that I can simply store it digitally. So that has been a great help because I'm now no longer tempted to buy more cookbooks. When I see a really cool cookbook, it no longer gets my attention because I've evolved how I store recipes. So that has been a massive impact for me. Number 6, things that are almost good enough or good enough for right now. So my big example of this are cute candles that smell really good, or candles that I've been gifted that aren't quite the fragrance that I enjoy or that my family enjoys. And so I did a big clear out of candles because I realized that I had a bunch of candles in the cupboard and I had looked through those for one to burn one day, and I couldn't find one that I was like, no, none of these will work for whatever reason. And I put candles on the shopping list, and yet I had a drawer full of candles. So I thought, if I am in this moment not willing to use any of these candles, I need to A, donate the candles, and B, think about what kind of candles should enter my home so that I'm not buying candles in the future that I won't use. So candles that were unused, I regifted, and ones that were used, we tried to use up or we donated. So no genuine waste there, but now I know when I get candles in that don't fit the particular candle holders that I like to use because I don't want the surfaces to get burned or have any fire risk, then I know that if the fragrance isn't right or the base isn't quite right for those, that it's a candle that I shouldn't start burning. I should hang on to it to regift or donate or something like that, but to actually also try not to bring those into my house anymore. So saving money there, and also mental space, and always having just a couple of candles on hand that we can pull out and enjoy during the different seasons and holidays. Number 7, frugal or inexpensive items as temporary solutions. So I had never had a coffee maker. I always did coffee as like pour over by hand, and then I decided to get an espresso maker, and it's the kind where you pack in the ground coffee bean and then you put it in and you twist it and you make it. But I got a very inexpensive one and it wasn't very good, and it was a huge mess and a huge cleanup, and so then it ended up sitting, like we tried using it a number of times and then it just sat on our counter, and we finally donated it, and that was such a waste of like $140 plus tax, and it was really frustrating to have spent the money, to have tried it, and it made me a little bit gun shy to try again. And then we were in Italy last summer and we had a coffee machine, and I later looked it up. It was an extremely expensive coffee machine that they had in one of the Airbnbs we stayed in, but I realized that it was because I had gone really cheap and gotten kind of a low quality, or one that wasn't really fit for my personal expectations of a coffee machine. And so I purchased a single, like one-time purchase after doing a lot of reviews, a lot of research on what I really wanted in a coffee machine for me. So not necessarily what everybody else was buying or what necessarily had great reviews for a great price or this or that, but like specifically what I wanted. And my regret is that I didn't hold out for that in the first place, that I got the cheaper one because I wasted money. And so that for me was really a turning point a year and a half ago to say, like, don't buy the in-between version, just wait, because I've been getting by, actually enjoying doing pour-overs for 40 something, well, okay, I didn't drink coffee when I was 10, but for a long time, and so trying to take that interim step was such a waste of time and energy. Number 8, helpful gadgets. And these are gadgets that you tend to find when you are shopping at a TJ Maxx or a Marshalls or a Target or a Home Goods or this type of store. And for me, helpful gadgets is really synonymous in my case with kitchen gadgets. And I'm like, oh, it would make it simpler to cut up an apple or to make a fancy design on a potato. And a lot of times I'm thinking about how can I do something really cool in the kitchen for my kids, or hey, I don't like to cook, so this might make my life a little bit easier. But the reality is we've now got a drawer full of these gadgets and we use them once in a while. I'm not going to say we never use them, but there's certainly, for the $10 or $15 or $20 per item that we've spent, it is a lot of clutter for very little use. And half the time we spend time trying to figure out if we do have that special gadget, or we make something and we're like, oh, we could have used that special gadget. And so I haven't cleared them out, but I'm thinking about clearing all of those out. But I've certainly not bought any more since leaving corporate life and kind of having this epiphany about all of these types of things. And number 9, I like to call these things, what if it's better? This is when I have something that I like it, I'm enjoying using it, I'm enjoying whatever brand it is, but I'm like, what if that new one on the market by this other brand is better? Let me try it. that is such a waste of money. So if I'm not happy with whatever product I'm using, and I actually do need to like find one that actually works or performs as expected, fine. But if I'm just trying it because I've seen advertising from it or somebody else has mentioned it, if I'm quite happy with the thing that I currently have, I have made a conscious decision not to go try other new products that supposedly serve kind of the same function if I'm happy with the performance of the existing thing. Also, acknowledging that I didn't need 3 or 5 or 8 flavors of something, I have started using up or simply getting rid of or donating if it was good enough condition to all of the things that kind of didn't make the cut after I had tried them, instead of holding on to them, because I have entire shelves of products that I've tried and they weren't better than the thing that I already had, and then I feel bad because I spent the money and I don't want to throw them away, and I think I should use them up, but then I want to keep using the one that I actually like. So all the ones that I didn't like, I kind of committed to, if I get rid of these, and I need to get rid of these, I don't need to keep reliving and seeing the mistakes that I made. Like, just let it go, learn from the lesson, and don't keep buying new things just because somebody has said it's great. And that has cut down on my Amazon spending like 90%. Or rather, this one and the almost good enough and the gadgets and all those types of things, I have far less packages coming to me from Amazon, and I do far less shopping. If you were hoping that I would tell you exactly how much I saved, I think this is not really about how much I've saved. I just know that I don't have the need to shop for all of these things anymore, and it frees up my time and energy. And of course, it's since I don't shop for them, it saved me money, but I haven't calculated how much I would have spent, but it hasn't been insignificant, number one. And number two, the impact on my mental health of just being able to reach into a cupboard and have the exact thing that I actually want, or making a coffee and having the coffee maker be the right coffee maker instead of the cheaper version of, or just waking up in the morning and going into my closet and grabbing something and not having to think too much about it, or just feeling really good when I put it on. All of these things have had such an impact on my mental health, and I wish that I would have thought about all of this or noticed all of this when I was still in the corporate world, but leaving and kind of being able to sit in the silence of the house and not have 1,000 other things running through my mind really gave me the time and mentally to step back and take a hard look at how I was living life. And yeah. So those are the 9 things that I have cut out, and I'm happier for it, and obviously it saved me money. Let me know if any of these 9 things would be on your list, or what else you might have cut out recently in terms of how you spend money or think about spending money. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos, and until next time, be brave, take care, and stay true to yourself.